Hey guys, I will quickly repeat the goal. So in the previous video, I just turned this off and turn this on. So this is basically a checkbox which sets our game object like enable or disable. Okay, so just make sure that like this is as simple as that. Like even if you can see the door here, right? So this is a door. If you turn it off, this will disappear. If you turn it on, this will appear. As simple as that. So this is what we want to achieve. So right now when our game is starting, so we don't want this game one panel to be shown, right? We want only this panel to show when the player is touching that trigger. So right now I am keeping this game one panel default as a turn off. So make sure that you are turning this off. And the second most important thing, I will just jump back to our script. So here is our logic of the previous day. Okay, so make sure that you are completing that. So just like we reference the public rigid body 2D, we will reference public game object. Should I access a game object or can I access something specific here? Just let me check. Just give me 1 second, guys. What I can access from the panel? Okay, I can access an image. Let it be. I will keep a simple. But yeah, like general note, accessing a game object directly is not a good choice. But yeah, for this tutorial, we will do it. I will say public game object, and I will name it exactly the same. That is game one panel. Okay, so just like we have dragged the component, we can drag the entire game object as well. But again, this is not considered as a good practice. To keep this video as short as possible and to as simple as possible, I am making it. So always it's better to access a component rather than accessing the entire game object, but let it be. So just like you can see, rigid body, we have a game object and there is an empty slot here. So what we need to do, just make sure that you are dragging the exact same game object. Again, I am repeating, this is a canvas. Don't drag the canvas, it will not work. Okay, just drag the game one panel. Okay, game one panel which is turned off and which contains two child, game one text and restart button into a player. I will give you a cool tip. Suppose you want to lock this inspector, there is a small lock icon. You can just click on that. So irrespective of you touch, oops, my bad, I guess lock icon is not touched. Okay, now it is locked. So irrespective of what you touch now, what you click now, the player inspector will be locked for you. So it will not go anywhere. So it is simple thing. Otherwise this task can be tedious. Suppose if the lock is not there and if you are clicking it and only a single misclick can just open up a different inspector, right? So whenever you are dragging and dropping to something into a player, just make sure that you are locking the inspector using this lock of the player. So now it doesn't matter how many clicks you do, our inspector will get locked. So again, what we need, game one panel. So exactly drag that game object only. Again, these names can be different, that is totally fine, but what the thing that you are dragging into this must be the same. Someone is saying game panel, someone is saying one panel, that can be anything. Okay, these names are defined by us, but make sure that these names are properly readable and which is giving us the exact idea what the game object is doing. The name should be proper, right? So again, I am just dragging this. Okay, game one panel, we are dragging the game one panel into this. So that's it. Again, I am jumping back to the Unity, jumping back to the script. So what we need to do is, so when our player touches the door, so yeah, this other is nothing but the parameter. Like here you can see this other and this other should be same. Some people can have collision 2D or something like that here. So just make sure that you are using the exact same name, whatever is here in your, as per the editor it changes. I guess in the Visual Studio community it is something called as collision, collider. So you need something, you need the exact same thing which is written here to be written here only. Okay, so we are accessing basically a parameter of a function. Don't worry about it. Just keep in mind that this and this should be the same. But anyways, I just completed my if. So whenever my player is touching a door, we are throwing a debug. We will still throw a debug, but right now what we will do, we will access this game1 panel game object. Game1 panel. So this is game object, just dot and set active. This is a method by the Unity, and just pass it true. Okay, so when you do it, the game object we have turned off will become turn on. I will quickly show you. By using this simple line, we can change this bool. So this is nothing but a boolean. All the checkboxes you can see, these are nothing but booleans. I will just unlock my inspector. Just make sure that you are unlocking, otherwise all the clickings will not be useful. Okay, just make sure that you are unlocking the inspector. So this is the game1 panel, which is currently off, right? So our code, what our code is doing is, it is just turning it on. Okay, when our player is touching. Just quickly test it. Cool, right? Game1 panel. As simple as that. Now we have achieved this. So I just don't want my player to move after my level is complete. Okay, so how we can do it in a simple way is, we will create a simple boolean. Like this boolean doesn't need to be private. So private boolean. Bool means it will be either true or false. Boolean is like the binary thing. It will be either true or false. Game is game1. Okay, generally booleans start with is. So is game1, and I will just make this boolean is game1 is equal to true. Make sure you are following everything, you are not missing any line. Every line is logical here. So as you can see, when our player is touching the door, we are activating the game panel and we are setting this game1 to true. Okay, so and I don't want my player to move when game is 1. Okay, so I just simply add the condition here in the top. You must add this condition at the top. So if game is, is game1, so if this is true, this is double equal to true, simply return. So return means we are saying update to don't go beyond this. As simple as that. So if game is true, we are saying return from the update. So for every frame, our update will check this bool. If it is true, it will not execute all the things which are written below it. As simple as that. Okay, so just quickly test it out. So by default, our game1 panel is off. I can move my player. Okay, whenever I am going here, I can't move my player. I am just pressing the keys and my player is like stick. I just can't do anything, and game1 is coming. So yeah, that's it. Just I forgot. It is always better to initialize your variables if they are private. So is game1. So whenever game is starting, it is quite logical, right? Whenever we are starting the game, by default our game1 should be false. So that means our game has not won yet. As simple as that. So basically it will be false. Just declare it this way. Just add this condition, and your player will not move when our game is won. Okay, yeah, thanks a lot.